If you have signed up to be a reseller, what you're literally telling yourself is that, look, I am signing up to be out there. It doesn't matter if it's winter, if it's summer. I am signing up to be out there rendering valuable services to buyers on the internet. It doesn't matter where you sell. You could be selling on eBay. You could be selling on Amazon, on whatnot, on TikTok. It doesn't matter, like I said, where you sell. But what you are signing up for is that, look, even if the weather is as bad, I'm going to make sure that my items are shipped out to the buyer. Even if it's very sunny, even if it's snowing all day long, I'm going to ensure that, look, items get to the buyer exactly the time I have promised that the items will be delivered to whoever goes ahead to my website, to my eBay shop to buy my item. Yes, that you have said. We understand that the motivation is there, but sometimes things just get a little bit tricky when it's winter. You have to do like extra work to really ensure that items get to the buyers safely. And some of these things that you have to do, some are literally beyond your control. I live in Germany. Today, it's been snowing all day long. You know, it's messy. Everything's pretty much wet. It's dirty. You don't want to go out. And winter being what it is, it has a way of actually affecting your mood, your motivation. If it's snowing all day long and it's very, very cold outside, sometimes you really don't want to go outside. All you want to do is pretty much be in bed, just sleeping, perhaps drinking a cup of coffee or a cup of very nice tea. This is what you naturally want to do, but sometimes you have to really push yourself. But then, like I said, if you are decided to be a reseller, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, you are ready to keep going, even when the weather is telling you, hey, today will just be a good day to be in bed. It's been snowing all day long. Everywhere is so wet. Everywhere is pretty much very messy right now. And the problem is, sometimes you might be having a lot of motivation to actually ship out items to your buyer. The weather, being what it is, might be preventing the shipping service from actually doing their job. There are going to be incidents of delay. There are going to be incidents of missed pickup. There are going to be different challenges because sometimes it might be snowing not so heavy in your location, but somewhere else might be just so terrible. In this video, I'm going to try to give you some tips, things that you can pretty much put in place to ensure that, look, in times like this, in times where there are challenging weather conditions, you still can deliver on your promise, which is to ensure that items get to the buyer in a very good condition and in a timely manner. You see, apart from winter actually having a toll on the shipping companies, sometimes items just pretty much get destroyed during winter. See, naturally, I don't have a high incidence of items being destroyed during transportation, but winter, like I said, being what it is, because it's so wet, there might be very good incidences of items being destroyed during transportation. If the items are not well packed, there is the possibility for water or for snow to actually get in contact with the package. And if the cartons that you have used in this case are not good quality cartons, all you have is an item that will be destroyed before it gets to the buyer's place. And if you are somebody that actually have people working for you, you might be a very big reseller, you have a big warehouse where you actually have workers coming to work for you. Winter being what it is, could also be that, look, these people might not be able to come to work. They might call in sick because, like you all know, when the weather is so cold, people are prone to getting a cold and there are just all manner of challenges in winter. This is why when you are a reseller, winter is a particularly difficult time and you always have to be prepared for it, because if you are not prepared, then you're going to be caught unaware. And if you sell on a platform like eBay, there's every possibility that your seller rating might be affected because you have not prepared yourself adequately for the challenging events that tend to go with winter. So now that you're already caught up in winter, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do. One of the tips I can pretty much give to you is that when you are sending out items in a time like this, always make sure that you use very good quality materials in packing your items. If you sell electronics, this might even be a greater call for you to be really, really careful in this time. Use the best bubble wrap that you can possibly lay your hands on. Not only one layer, try to double it, triple it, if you have the possibility to do that, because in you doing this, you are just going to reduce as much as possible the incidence of water or snow coming in contact with your item, even when they come in contact with the packaging materials that you have actually used. Go ahead, do not be cheap in this time. Understand that, look, you might be careful in handling your package, but as soon as the package gets to the driver or the delivery service, you do not have any direct control anymore of what happens to your packages. So what you want to do is to ensure that the packages are pretty much packed as much as you can. If you have to lay your hands on waterproof materials like a plastic bag, always ensure you first put your item in the plastic bag before going ahead to even bubble wrap it, because sometimes it just makes a lot of sense for you to be prepared for every extreme conditions. So if you can really do this, ensure that the items you say are pretty much packed. This is already like 50% of you trying to be proactive to whatever problems that winter tends to bring. Another thing you want to do, because you understand that in this time there are a lot of delays. Shipping companies are going to be experiencing delays. They're going to be backlogged because sometimes the weather condition is so extreme that drivers cannot even drive out. And sometimes when they try to deliver an item, it's possible that the street on which the address is filled up with snow. It's not been cleaned up. They're just going to turn back. They're not going to go ahead delivering packages in this time. So there's going to be a lot of delay in your packages. So what does this mean for you? Because if you have promised that a customer will receive an item today or tomorrow, and the customer has to wait like 2 or 3 more days before the item gets delivered, it's going to definitely tell on the quality of seller that you are. And one thing you can actually do is for you to be proactive. Understand that when a buyer has trusted you enough as to spend 300 euros, 400 euros in buying an item from your shop, the buyer expects to get a very, very good service. In the event that you receive shipping updates from your provider saying that, look, a particular package is going to be delayed, go ahead and inform your buyer. See, sometimes it's not a very good situation to be in. I get it. I've been there so many times. But one thing you want to do, a very good and effective communication always goes a long way to solve so many problems. Go ahead, inform your buyer, say, look, this item has already been sent, but I just received an update from the shipping provider saying that, look, it's not going to be delivered as planned. Go ahead, inform them, let the buyer make a decision. Sometimes they might be a little bit angry, but if you are selling items to decent buyers, which is what we all strive to have, they would definitely be understanding. Because if I sell an item to somebody that lives 3 or 4, 5 streets away from me, and the buyer can actually see that, look, it's been snowing all day long, the buyer should be understanding enough as to expect a little delay. So communication in this time is very key. Be on top of your game. Always review the updates from your shipping provider. I typically tend to ship out my item with DHL, and DHL as a shipping service has a very decent shipping update that they tend to provide per SMS, per email, or even on their homepage. Go ahead, review it sometimes. Be on top of your game, because whenever it's snowing, expect that things anytime quickly go wrong. So always make sure you develop the habit of checking your shipping provider, checking their homepage to see if there are weather warnings. And if there are, do not hesitate to contact your buyer. It may just be that one good thing that you could do that could prevent you from actually getting a negative review. Another thing you want to ensure that you put in place in this time is to ensure that, look, buyers actually have a seamless way to return your item. Because even though you have used very good wraps, very good packaging materials, and you have actually done a very good job in ensuring that, look, the items are sent properly and safely to the buyer, whenever it's snowing or whenever the weather is very bad, there could still be a possibility of that item being destroyed before it gets to the buyer. So one thing you want to do as to make sure that you make things right with the buyer is, look, in situations like this, ensure, if it is possible anyway, because I understand that not all sellers can actually pull this off, ensure that you offer free returns to your buyer, so that in the event that his buyer receives a package and the package is destroyed, the buyer shouldn't have to pay to return this package. Because if I buy something for 400 euros and it's destroyed, I need to send it back, and I still have to pull out money from my pocket to actually pay for the return, I'm going to be very, very angry about that. So if you have the systems in place to ensure that you do this, make sure you offer free returns in this time. It could just be that one move that will see to it that an angry customer doesn't go to your review page to try to mess it up with a negative review. Give buyers the opportunity to be able to send back your items without having to be in the negative. Offer free returns, especially for items that are destroyed during transportation occasioned by bad weather conditions. Do not let the customers begin to yap at you just to be able to return an item. As soon as the buyer gives you a hint that the item came destroyed, go ahead and offer free return. Send the buyer a shipping label. Yes, like I always say on this channel, sometimes you have to choose some and just move on. It is what it is. It is one of the things that goes with reselling. Sometimes you have to eat some and sometimes you have to win some. Don't be so petty. The customer is saying that, look, the item doesn't meet my expectation because it came destroyed. The cartons came in contact with snow and I'm not so sure how the item is going to perform for me. Be the first person to say, don't worry, I'm pretty much open to issue you a full refund of your money. Kindly send back the item to me at no cost to you. When you can do this, you're going to put yourself on a very good standing with eBay or whatever platform you sell on. And most times, buyers will go ahead and even give you a positive review, even though the situation should have been one that should warrant a negative review. Just like the first point I made, which is always make sure you are in good communication with your customers. Provide adequate support to your buyers. Whenever an email is coming in, always make sure you reply to these emails. Customers, buyers, it doesn't matter. They could be very apprehensive when the weather is so bad, when it's raining all day long. Sometimes they want to just write you to find out what's the situation of the item that they have bought from your shop. Be timely, be prompt, reply them, show a lot of empathy to their situation, because sometimes you never can tell who you are dealing with. There are people that are just so anxious. You might be pretty much chill and saying, look, the weather is what it is, items are going to be delayed, but the person on the other side might see it differently. So you want to show a lot of empathy, ensure you are giving the best support to your buyers in this time. And sometimes if you want to take it to the next level, you could even go ahead and include a note in the box or in the packaging, just telling the customers, look, these are the steps they need to take as soon as an item gets delivered. Whenever they open it, they should go ahead and inspect it for any defect. And if they have done so, if you sell electronics and the items are coming in when the weather is very cold, you also want to include a little note informing the buyer that, look, when the item, in this case, an electronic device, is delivered when the weather is very, very cold, ensure that you leave the item standing or leave it on the table for a few hours to attain room temperature before you go ahead and switch it on. A little thing like this can go ahead to save you hundreds of euros, It might be a little bit inconvenient for you to do this, but at the end of the day, it might just go ahead to save you hundreds of euros in losses. This might not apply to you if you sell clothing, but like I do sell electronics, this might be a very, very important point to note, because not all electronic devices can be switched on the moment they are handed over to you when the weather is like minus 10 degrees. Sometimes you have to leave them standing to attain room temperature for you to be able to get the best result from this device. Another thing you want to do is that if you sell very high value items, ensure that you're actually shipping out these items with a service that has an insurance in place, because at the end of the day, you could take all the necessary precautions, but things just still end up going south. So in this case, you want to do yourself a great good if you have a shipping service that actually has an insurance cover included in the cost of the shipping. Go ahead and subscribe to such service, because at the end of the day, if you want to ship really expensive items for so cheap using services that do not have insurance in place, it will just amount to being penny wise, pound foolish. And when things go south, you will really have yourself to blame. If you have an item that's very expensive, let it not be a problem for you to actually subscribe to a very good service to make sure that in the event that things go wrong, you do not have to bear all the loss alone. And in some cases, the insurance company actually do go ahead to cover the full cost of the item that got destroyed during transportation occasioned by bad weather. So an insurance policy included in the cost of your shipping is also a very, very wise thing to consider. Have you had a very bad experience, shipping items in extreme weather conditions? Ensure you go to the comment section below. I would like to read about it. Tell me how it went and tell me how you did go ahead to make things right with the buyer. Until I see you again in the next video, peace.